Hello everyone, my name is Tamagna Basu. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Neowite, and this talk is about my recent research on an AI and how I can use it for a little bit of offensive purpose, which is like try to trigger a new kind of social engineering attack. A brief about me. As I said, I've been in the industry for quite some time, running my own company. Apart from that, obviously, I've also mentor in various cybersecurity courses from various institute and organizations in cybersecurity as well as machine learning. So primarily, I work in extensively on machine learning, AI, ML recently, and also applying that knowledge of AI and machine learning and how I can apply it in cybersecurity, right? And Cocoon is very close to my heart. This conference, and I will be very much always thankful to Cocoon because I think throughout my career, the first conference I ever spoke was Cocoon, which is 15 years back. So yeah, so Cocoon is always a very. I have a lot of good memories with Cocoon. So thank you for this opportunity again for letting me talk here. Uh, yes, moving on. So this is a brief background. So what I do as part of my current organization is something called behavioral analysis, right? And we use it for fraud detection. So to be precise, what we do is we study your behavior when you're actually using your device, when you're using a device like computers or mobile, and how you hold the phone, how you type, when you're walking, what kind of walk do you are you a left-handed person versus right-handed person. So this kind of various behavioral trait we study, and what we do is using this data we kind of create a profile of each individual, and so that whenever this account, let's say you have a username password based login or any other form of login to access an account and access some sensitive data, so we whenever you're logging in using this data, using this profile, behavioral profile, we try to identify that are you the right person who is actually logging in, or is it your account is compromised and someone else is misusing your credentials, right? So predominantly we are preventing account takeover or identity frauds across every platform, be it web, mobile, or any other computer logins as well, right? So that's our technology. Now why this is important, because I'll just skip this slide because anyway we'll be talking about all this thing one by one. So when we actually did this, we realized that okay, I'm studying the behavior, I'm kind of creating a profile, an identity profile for a person, which means I probably to some extent know some sort of personality related aspect. Now is there a way I can use it to replicate my behavior, replicate my identity? So that was my idea. Now coincidentally I saw this episode of Black Mirror a few years back, and this story of this Black Mirror episode goes like, this lady, she lost her friend, and the guy died in a car accident, and she was very depressed. She was not able to come out of the depression, always missing him and all these things. And suddenly, there's a futuristic company who came approached to her saying that, what, I can bring back this person if you provide me data in terms of what kind of conversation you had with the person and stuff like that. And with this data, what they've done, they have created an AI, conversational AI, where first it starts like a text based conversation where this lady, she tried to talk to him over a text chat, like Facebook chat kind of thing. And then from there it goes to voice, where she can have a conversation over phone kind of thing, and feels like she's talking to that person with the voice and everything. And third is obviously they finally created a kind of 3D model, or actually replica of the human, which feels like this is actual person. So anyway, this is too futuristic. Although I couldn't achieve the final goal of creating an exact person, a clone, because then probably it would be a major this thing breakthrough in the research. However, what I did is in the digital channel I tried to follow the same approach, and created first a conversational AI where users will try to have a conversation. So here are some snapshots of the conversation demo I had. So what is this about is this is where actually um, we I have created this as an AI engine where you can have a bot and you can talk to the bot, and I have kind of shared this bot access to some close friends in my network, and ask them go ahead and start having a conversation and see and let me know how is your experience. And I've already told them that the reason behind this bot is obviously this research of digital clone. So the idea here is you talk to the bot and you give me a feedback that does it feel like you're talking to me, since you know me and my personality, or does it sound like too kind of robotic, right? So that's the idea. Now here you can see this is one conversation happen, and the left side is the bot, and the right side is the person human who is chatting, right? So there is some introductions happen, bot, what can I do for you and everything. And then this guy says, the bot says my name is Rob Paulson. And then obviously the guy says I'm Alessio. So then he says, you seem to be an intelligent guy. Say, yes, I'm glad you noticed. And no, where are you? I'm in my cabin and stuff like that. And then finally it says, I'm pretty knowledgeable in the field of, and this, are you a cybersecurity guy? Say, no. Then are you of quantum physics? Then it says, yeah, I'm a quantum physicist. Some sort of sarcastic thing. And this is great. Can you explain me some specific topic of quantum physics? And then the bot says, I have no idea what that means, right? So yes, I mean there is a fun factor. There is some little bit of sarcasm. Those things are there. There are some more screenshots. Here is one where left side again. The left side is a bot and the right side is a human. So this is another person where this guy says, okay, how old you are? So then the bot says, okay, crack some random joke, and he says, okay, but how old are you? So what do you think? How old? Then this guy says something, and then it cracks some random joke. And if you know me, or people who knows me are close friends, and a lot of good friends I have in Kukan, they know that this is how I probably I am. I prefer to have fun around friends, cracking jokes, random jokes, and stuff like that. Same for this guy. This is another interesting talk where the person on the right side tried to make it more philosophical, saying that okay, let's see if I can become a have some intelligent conversation, and the bot kind of tried to avoid and try to make it try to change it to a direction of being funny, having a funnier discussion, right? So again, yeah, this is something probably I would do if you try to have a too serious discussion in a situation where I don't feel seriousness is not important, right? So yeah, uh, so overall I personally felt okay, this to some extent was able to replicate some of my behavioral traits, and this is some proof. This is a group of my friends, as I said, where I have shared this, and a couple of guys have chatted, and then these are various person who responded back after doing it, saying that okay, you know what? Why do I get a feeling that Basu is personally typing all these messages, right? Someone else says I thought the same, and this guy says okay, try it successful. I said okay, this is a copy, and this is okay. It seems you are successful. So yes, overall, few people actually got a feeling at times that okay, this is actually a human, and which is me they're talking to, and that was kind of a little satisfactory. At least is this kind of POC stage, because my objective was as part of research is build some sort of POC thing, right? And I'll tell you why I don't want to do a full-fledged project as of now, because obviously there is a little scary aspect to this also. Now finally from there I've transitioned save into voice and video, and this is a video demo where actually I've kind of created. So this is actually a bot who is actually having a conversation we can have. So, so right, so you can see this is where I'm having a conversation with the bot. Okay, we'll see this demo more details towards the end, uh, but let's get into this. So as a POC, I was able to translate and replicate it to from text to voice to video. So that's what my idea was. Okay, let's dive into it now. See how I've done it. So first in architecture. So overall this project has three parts. One is obviously the I call it as brain, or a text chat engine, where actually it will you send a request or send a question or send a statement, and it should be able to give you a meaningful response in a way where I ideally probably would have responded, right? So that is the text chat engine. Now the voice after that, which is audio synthesis engine, where the idea was take that chat and then add a voice translation to that, where it probably would replicate my voice and say it in a voice which is sounds like me. And then third is the face, where you actually then put this voice to my face and make it like a video where I am actually talking and I'm saying the same thing, which essentially involved lip syncing and stuff like that, right? So these are three part. Now I want to emphasize here the two one aspect is the voice cloning and the face cloning is already there in the industry, right? So this is already there. We see a lot of fake videos, Donald Trump singing vajans and stuff like that. So this is already there. So I'm not here to reinvent this thing which is already there, and people probably have done far better research than what I could capable of doing. My objective here was to work on the first part, which is the brain, and create an NLP engine to see is there a way I can replicate the emotions, the behavior of responsive behavior of mine over an NLP chat, right? And then hook the other platform to that. So that's exactly what I tried to do. So 80% of my time was spent on this left side, the first part, because if this part gets perfect, the other thing will fall into the places. And then for this too, I mostly used some open source engines and third party libraries and stuff like that, right? So let's dive into this brain. Now, how do I do it? Now, obviously, as you all know, that brain is the most complicated organs, and still people are actually trying to understand how it works. So it's a no-brainer that I would be able to I won't be able to get it all. So because this is the most complex part of it. So see, as a hacker, our job was to get things done. So our objective was find a way where it looks realistic, looks convincing. So that's exactly what we try to do. I'm not here to replicate exact brain, the neurons and all these things. Although that's the concept of neural network, and various kind of thing like one-shot learning, zero-shot learning, and stuff like that. But yeah, the idea here is let's create something which looks reasonably good. All right. So to do that, first obviously problem I had is data. I need data. Now how do I get a data? So the first step was I've kind of crawled through all my social networking sites, and probably the previous chat history of how I spoken or conversed with the various people in different channels, be it Facebook, be it SMS, be it WhatsApp, be it LinkedIn, right? And then we segregated them depending on various kind of category like intimacy, friendship, closeness of friendship, like that. For example, LinkedIn is more like a professional versus, okay, again, professional versus personal category, that we kind of categorize this conversation in various category and subcategories, so that we get a feeling, okay, on various scenarios how do I behave or what kind of response I give, right? And if it's a kind of professional conversation with an acquaintance over LinkedIn probably, or it could be Facebook, WhatsApp as well, how do I respond? If it is a friend, like a normal friend, a colleague, probably colleague come friend, like very, it's a professional relation but becomes little personal, how does it turn? Versus if it's a college friend, what kind of behavior? And then so this is what the first part is: data segregation and data management. And once I have all the data, because then I try to take some standard AI engines. So if you are familiar with NLP, sequential model is one to start with. Probably this is something which people recommend. You need to learn sequential models, or NMT, neural machine translation, as a model, NMT model. And then obviously there are more advanced model is there. So obviously I started with the basics. So like let's take a sequential model or an NMT model and then try to do that. And we kind of experimented with that. And then obviously problem. So the way this model was work, with a small time I cannot explain all the AI stuff, but then just to give you an idea, this models, the job of this model, NLP models, were to generate a text, given a text, generate a text which could be a possible response for that. Now how they do it, there are various ways it generates a response. And that is what this AI model is about. They try to improve it by taking a history, probably what and it generates word by word, probably like what word has been uttered or has been mentioned after which word. Let's say, uh, example, if I say let's say, the say should come after I put let's, right, something like that. Or let's say, if I get let's, if I get based on frequency analysis, most of the time I say let's say, then let them, or let it be. So then, if I get let's, probability, high probability that say should come next, right? So this is the kind of various heuristics, probably is there behind the scene. And with that it try to generate a response. Now, this is good, but the problem with that is sometimes it talks random stuff which doesn't make any sense because the context was missing, right? So one part was very important in a conversation is, if you talk about simple Q&A, like how are you? I am good. Who are you? I am Basu, or I am Tamagna. So those are easy. But then if I want to have a conversation where context is important, right? Probably when I'm talking to you, after probably fifth or sixth sentences or fifth or sixth level of conversation, I probably will be asking you about something which is mentioned probably previously, like 2 minutes before, right? So context was very much important. So that part was not very well articulated here. So there another model for like a general approach for which is a simplistic model, which is rules plus intent based model. So it's pure rule based model where what it happens is basically, if you ask a question using NLP, you try to identify two things. One is what is the intent of it. Let's say if I say where are you, the intent is user wants to know my location. Or if I say how are you, user wants to know my well-being. Am I all right or not? Right? So define intent. So define the intent, looking at the statements, possibly identify what is the intent of the question, and then set some responses. Say, okay, if the intent is this, then these are the possible responses for that, right? So that is a rule plus intent based model. Typical any chatbots, if you look in today's world, that follows this kind of model. Because if you talk about a chatbot today, there are two classification of chatbots. One is called open domain and one is called closed domain, right? So open domain is, that is what exactly we're trying to do here, which is basically you create a chatbot where you can talk about anything and everything. That is called open domain. That's very difficult. That's exactly like a human, right? You can talk about some random things to anybody. Closed domain, however, is where the domain is fixed. Like let's say if you go to a booking website, you get a chatbot which will help you to book a ticket. That's a closed domain because the chatbot has only knowledge of how to book a ticket and how to help a customer who is trying to book a ticket or book a hotel. Versus if you go to a banking website, probably you get a chatbot which help you to understand all your financial transactions, because that guy only knows what kind of question you can ask on that context of your account, probably a savings account, and what should be the answer. So this is called closed based domain. So this rules plus intent based model is actually popular for those kind of model. So what I build is I build multiple model like this and try to see which model gives me a better result. And at real time, if you ask a question, I actually pick up what is the best response, and then I give it back as a response to the question or the message you have given, right? So that is how it's been done. Now moving on. So overall, this is where I've categorized this entire thing. So when I realized this thing is it's not very simple or easy to do, I said, okay, let's try to categorize the conversations in different categories. Right now, these are 3 or 4 categories I've created. First category is called chit chat. Chit chat is nothing but hi, how are you, what's up, how is life, who are you, where are you, those kind of questions, which has probably have a same response, whenever you will ask me, right? So it's called chit chat. Second is historical. Historical is nothing but based on my previous history of conversations I have done, which I have collected from whatever the social network, is what I have responded on some question which was asked to me before on the same context, right? Let's say if someone wants to meet me on a specific place, in a specific region or area, I probably would have a fixed or favorite restaurant or favorite coffee shop where I would prefer to meet. So if someone says, okay, can I meet you at probably in HSL layout in Bangalore, then I will say yeah, sure. Then let's meet at probably Cafe Coffee Day, or let's meet at probably Chayos or something like that, right? Chai Point. So yeah, so some place I frequented. So those things could be, so this is called historical data. So I kind of categorize this as that. And third is the topical or factual question, which is asking for certain information which probably is something I should know. And for example, like look, based on the place I am been, how is the weather there, how is the climate there, or probably based on my domain, if I'm, since I am a security expert, someone will ask you probably some questions about security, right? These are called factual or asking for specific information. And then fourth category is pure generative, philosophical, or anything free flow chat, like what is the purpose of life and stuff like that. Now, since I've categorized this, then my problem statement become different. That I can handle it in a smaller window on a differently, and that's exactly what I tried to do. So this is a framework called Rasa. Rasa is a open source framework, chatbot framework, and they're doing very well. Uh, so this is where you can this I've used for first category or chit chat category, where basically the idea is I created some intents saying that okay, if user wants to greet me, he or she will say this: hi, hello, how are you, good morning, this kind of thing. If user's intent is buy or intent is to thank me, then user will say one of this kind of thing, probably thank you. So this, what does that mean is, as a bot, if it receives a text like this is a possible intent for that. So this is how it will do. And then I have defined the responses, right? What kind of response I get? If I say, let's say thank you, then I will respond back, say no worries, right? Or if someone says great, hi, then I will respond back saying hi, hello, like that, right? So this is a pure rule and intent based model, and this works well with the chit chat. As I said, this is prepared like a normal chit chat. Now second was, if you remember, the category 2 was historical data, what I have told in past and what was my response in the whatever, if the same thing was asked me before in previously. So for that I used a different framework called Chatterbot. Chatterbot again is open source framework, and what does it do is, using Chatterbot you can actually have a question and response kind of category. So whatever you have discussed your conversation, you can split it in this kind of message and response flow. And then what it does internally is, whenever you ask something, it first does a probabilistic matching with the questions or the messages, saying that okay, whatever is been asked, which was the most closely related, closely matched statement out of the statements I have. Now this matching happens based on various statistical methods internally, and you can choose which method works, using Bayesian distance method and some other methods. So those things actually you can use. Now once you get the response, the matching message, whatever the corresponding response, that response will get sent to you. So that is the second part of the category. And it's very simple. If you go to the documentation, you can actually see it. It's very, and the third thing is category 3 was, if you remember, was asking for specific information. How is the weather, or what is SQL injection? So this is where probably I need to have a knowledge base, or I have to search in Google. So Google is my knowledge base in this case probably, right? So there has to be a third outsourced third party database where I have to find an answer. So for that I have created again some custom actions, where if you ask those questions, those kind of question, I will go fetch the answer from some specific repository. And in this case I have done integrated Wikipedia is as one repository. It could be Google search, it could be in any third party you can think of, and then knowledge base, and then you can get the response, and whatever response I get, I will send it back. So that is where you ask for specific information, which is a knowledge based information, and let's say if I have to respond back to that. And the final one, which is the open domain, as I was saying, which is actually purely about this sorry, some background noises, there's some construction going on, but anyway, so this thing is basically on purely on open domain. So open domain, there are two very interesting framework. In fact, when I did, it was not available, but now there is something called GPT-3, which is actually OpenAI has published. That is also better. So Parl AI is released by Facebook. Then there is a Dialog GPT, which is released by Microsoft. This one. But now most recent update on this is OpenAI 3. OpenAI has released something called GPT-3, and that is like the best model, NLP model ever, which actually can allow you to have a conversation like open domain conversation. So this model can help you to have a human-like conversation on any random topic, where this guy will try to the AI model was able to respond you back. So we kind of integrated the Parley for this POC, and obviously you can integrate others as well. So overall, this is how my architecture. So what I've done is, for the voice, let's say I use for WhatsApp through Twilio, and for Telegram I use some backend server using Flask. So I have exposed my service as a service. So, and behind the scene it has this multiple framework, and the way it works, as I said, there's a decision making happen. So first, whatever you ask, based on the kind of category of conversation, it first goes to Rasa, and if it is a chit chat, it gets a response back from here. But if it is not a chit chat, then it goes to say Chatterbot or Parl AI, this kind of engine. And then I kind of study here what is the confidence of each response, which is one is the most confident response, and based on the confidence, we try to understand what is the most appropriate response, and then I send back that response to your interface. That's how this chatbot over WhatsApp or Flask has been built, which people have conversed with. Now moving on, if you remember, now so far one thing was missing was context, right? So it is pure question answer so far. Now this is where I try to add a context again. So this is again a paper published. I've kind of followed this. What it does is basically this can be any length, but idea was, if you get a response, the previous n number of statements could be your context, which is, that means in this case I have used 6 statements. 0 to 5 is 6, 7 is my context. So any response, the previous 7 messages was a context to get this response. So this is how you build a context. It could be 7, it could be 10, and then what you do is, every time you get a question, you do behind the scene using your NLP engine, you try to analyze the context, and then see that which is the most appropriate as response, considering whatever has been discussion happened previously, right? So that's how you add the context. This also I tried. Now overall it's all trial and error method, and as I said, obviously nothing is perfect. So what I need to do is, eventually I kind of created a model which is a mix of all this thing, and to my understanding, with the time I've spent, the best response I could get with the architecture I've shown. Now moving to the voice. So first is text, now second is the voice, right? I have to clone my voice. Now cloning a voice is a little tricky, although there are some AI model available. So Tacotron is one of the very popular model which is already available. You can use it. This is a CycleGAN voice conversation. This was good, but then obviously it needs a lot of data. And then there is a RTVC, which is real-time voice cloning. So what I did is, I created my voice samples, around 500 sample, each one was around 5 to 15 seconds each. So let's say on an average, say maybe some 2 to 3 hours of recordings of my voice I've used. I feed into this model, and to train the model, and then to see that after that, if I give a text, can it is able to kind of say it in my voice. Now the challenges here is, for the first 2 model I need lot of data. The researchers, the papers what I've been following, it says at least 12 to 15 hours of recordings I need. If I get around I think 8 to 8 hours or 12 hours, I don't remember exactly now, but yeah, around 12 to 15 hours of recording if I can get of my voice, then I would perfectly able to do the cloning. Since I have less amount of data, I'll show the demo, but what I could get is, my voice was there, but the pronunciations was not there. It was not able to pronounce my accent, like the words properly, but the voice sample sounded like me. So that's what I got. The second one is real-time voice cloning, was very good. It was pretty good, it is able to replicate my voice. However, it is trained with US accent, so it sounded like I am talking, but then in US accent. So it will perfectly work if you are a person with a US accent, or a person from that geography. However, if you're from an Indian or this part of the world, this will have a glitches. So overall, this is a solvable problem, where it's just a matter of data. If I get significant amount of data, I can do it. This can be done. Now this is what the voice samples. I'm gonna play this, and let's see if you're able to hear it or not. Right? So I'm playing it, the original.
Printing, in the only sense with which we are at present concerned, differs from most, if not from all, the arts and crafts represented in the exhibition.
So that's the original one, and this is the generated one.
Printing, in the only sense with which we are at present concerned, differs from most, if not from all, the arts and crafts represented in the exhibition.
Right. So this is exactly what I was saying, that eventually, with this model, if I get enough data, I can make it more clear. There was too much of losses, but then this loss will be replicated. But I did a hack, since I don't have lesser data. What I tried to do is, one is obviously I can hook into this model to my text chatbot, but instead of that, I kind of use a Google speech to text, text to speech translator, and then we kind of use an Indian voice sample there. So overall, this is my voice engine. How it works is, now I have created a speech to text first conversion here. So you ask something. So this is a voice engine where I can have a conversation with microphone. Where you say something, it will first translate to a question or text. The text will go to my text engine. The text engine will then generate a response, and then the response will be fed into this voice engine, and voice engine will generate the audio where it will actually say that in the voice, right? So this is what I've done. Now moving on to the next, which is the face. Now what is face? The face is, again, the objective here is, now I got the voice, I got the response, I got the voice. Now it's some objective of, I should have a video where I should feed in this voice, and I should be able to lip sync it properly, so that it sounded like I am saying it in response of what you asked. And it has to happen in near real time, because fake videos are already there. If you give me enough data, you have given me 2 days of time, I can generate a perfect fake video and generate. But question is, since we want to do it like a digital channel and over a conversation, like as if it's a clone, so idea was you can have a conversation, so it has to happen in near real time, right? So this is where I tried, I couldn't find good report, but then overall I found these two LibGAN and audio driven talking head posts. These are the two good model. LibGAN so far is the best model, and the guy, his name is Rudrava. He's a very good friend, and he's a good researcher in AI, and he has generated this model. Using this, you can actually feed in any voice, and it will be very perfectly lip sync it in a very less amount of time. So this solves my problem. So what I did is, I actually took a video, and I kind of put this into this model, and I generated a video. So as I said, these are the two different open source project which is available, which you can use it. Now these are the two demo. First one is the audio driven talking headphones. So I'm going to show that. You can see that obviously you can see which one is better. So the first one is this one.
Hello, how is life? Weather is good today. Went to zoo today. I am not a robot. Who are you? Where is your house?
And this is the second one.
Hello, how is life? Weather is good today. Went to zoo today. I am not a robot. Who are you? Where is your house?
As you see that this is not that good, because the heads is shaking too much, and probably it has little bit of shaky. So that's the AI model of audio driven talking headphones one, the project. Now this is LibGAN. This is what I used, and I have put in two different things. One is on image, and one is also on a video. So let's see how does it look. So on the image, I'm saying something, and let's see how it looks.
The environments bank provides it is one of the most interesting that has been working before.
Right, and this is on the video.
The examination and testimony of the experts enabled the Commission to conclude that 5 shots may have been fired.
Right. So as you can see, this one has a much better response and a better result. Okay, so the overall, I kind of stick to LibGAN, and this model I used. So overall, this is the final architecture. What I have done is I have created this as a clone engine. So as I said, this voice, then voice gets to text generate a response goes to voice, then voice goes to the video LibGAN, and LibGAN generates the final video. and this entire thing is called clone engine I've generated. Now I did a hook it into Google Hangouts using a Camtasia. So there is a lot of tool available where you can create your camera feed to an application. So using this, what you could do is, I can switch my camera feed of my camera or of my computer to a live application which is producing a video. So this is a video streamer I have created, so which has two videos, a silent video and talking videos. The way it works is, let's say I have a silent video which looks like, I'm just waiting for your command or waiting to hear from you, and then you say something over a call, and then that goes to my engine. Engine generates a response that goes to the video generation process. Then I get a video which seems like I'm saying the response, and then I kind of play it back to Hangout. So that's how you can have a conversation. It looks like first, whenever you are saying something, I'm watching, and then once you complete your story or sentence, then I will generate a response and I'll respond back to your question. Right. So this is overall how I did, and how connected all of this together. So let's see how does it work, right? So this is actually a video recording of a call where my friend and my co-founder Alessio, he made a call to my bot, and let's see how the conversation goes, right? So I'm gonna play it for you, and yes, let's see.
Hello. Hi, what? Hey, how are you? I'm doing very well, thanks. How are you? Good. Yep, tell me. Tell me. Okay, hey, need some help if you don't mind. Okay, no problem. Well, it's a bit awkward to ask you this, really sorry. Okay. Sorry to ask this to you. I have no other options for now. I am asking few close friends. Can you help me on this? Okay. I just need it for this month. Send me 2K via Google Pay. Will pay back in 10 days once I get from folks took from me. Okay. Can you please transfer me now? A bit urgent. Use phone pay also. Please send me screenshot in WhatsApp once sent. Okay. Yeah. Thanks again. So, what's new in your life? Call me once you are free. We'll talk. Bye. Yo, you are the funniest person I have ever seen.
Right. So that's how overall it works, and as you said, obviously, it's intentionally made in a way that it is little distinguishable, but with sufficient data, sufficient time, this could be as realistic, as believable as possible. Now, obviously, this is not a one man's job, right? I've just kind of created this as an idea, and started working on it because I found it very exciting. This code has been released. There is also small part is pending. The final AI model has a performance glitches we're fixing, but the processing and everything is there. It's pushed into the GitHub repo. So if you guys would like to contribute, I'll be more than happy to seek your advice and suggestions on that. Now, road ahead. Obviously, this has multiple various ways this can be used or misused. So in terms of technically, obviously there are a lot of work is there. I have to add some expressions, sentiment analysis, so that I can add more voice modulation, probably some facial expressions, sounds like more legitimate. Then if I get enough data, I would make more real-time sounding voices, which sounds like me. And then eventually we can use this to see if I can bypass any kind of biometric like voice recognition system or facial recognition system, or probably some lip reading systems and stuff like that. So those things can be done. So one side of this, obviously, I can use it to test it the security aspect of various authentication and authorization frameworks. Other side, obviously, this can be misused to bypass if something is broken, right? um, and yeah, so going forward, this is a bright future, obviously. Think of a world where, what if I can create hundreds of my own replica with my same level of knowledge and expertise, and then that become an army of mine, which I can use to do whatever and however I want to do it. And the best part is, obviously, all this will have the same level of maturity and mentality, right? So which I would prefer. Like, if I'm a person who is very self-centered and I'd like to be surrounded by people like me, this could be an ideal world for me, right? I create my own clothes and that will be around me, right? So this is very scary in terms of future. However, for any science research, I mean, there is always a good and bad aspect depending on what kind of use cases you're using it for. So definitely there is a future, and I'm very happy to continue this research further, and I would be happy to seek your support, definitely, in terms of, if you would like to invest in terms of time, energy, knowledge, or financially, if you want to support us. So I'm more than happy to expand this further. And also, in terms of pipeline, we would be creating a prevention framework as well, because since I know this is a problem, we'd like to also spend time on how to prevent such attacks, right? So that's also something we'll be doing. So yes, for the community, obviously, I'm open, and I'd like to invite you to support whatever way you can. Great. Some of the people, to name a few, who has helped me a lot on this project, and I'm kind of fortunate to have them as my friends in this from the security community. Few of them are well known to you guys also, and yes, and then lot of prior work is done also, so you can see some references, and I have published more references here, which is a lot of research has been done in this field, so you can have a look in this. And yes, so that's all from my side. And last but not the least, a little bit of shameless plug, which is, with this knowledge and expertise I have in AI, machine learning, and cybersecurity, and obviously I try to consolidate them in various kind of courseware, which I thought the right way to share my knowledge to people who would be interested to learn more about it. So I'm more than happy to do some workshops and everything if required. All right. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much, and yes, looking forward to hear from you guys. Thank you.